Tony KATZ, 239-9393. And if this is where our politics are, it's not a reflection of us, but it sure as hell is a reflection of the insanity that is mainstream media. President Trump, Congressman Frederica Wilson, a widow, a phone call, what got said, what didn't get said? Should I even know? Let me share some of this with you. The report, I think this is ABC News, but if I have it wrong, I apologize. This is how they describe it in one of their videos. Here's the scene. Frederica Wilson is supposedly in the car. In the car when President Trump makes a phone call to a widow. The widow of Sergeant David Johnson. He was one of 4 Americans killed in this attack in Niger. And there was a routine patrol, but there are no such things as routine patrols. They were ambushed, Islamists in the ambush, and 4 American soldiers are dead. And David Johnson, I apologize, is coming home. And then the Frederica Wilson, the congressman, and the widow are on their way to the airport where the body is coming home. And President Trump makes this phone call. And supposedly, President Trump was very insulting, very, very insulting, because he said words, according to Frederica Wilson, to the effect of, well, you know, he knew what he was getting into, and it hurts just the same. And he's now saying he never said anything like it. And Frederica Wilson is saying, what a sick and terrible man. Here, listen.
Has now changed her story.
Didn't say it at all. She knows it, and she now is not saying it.
Are you revising now? Is the president correct? What you heard him say?
I stand by what I heard him say.
Moments before this crushing image, Wilson says she heard the president call this widow, making, quote, insensitive and insane comments.
I heard him say, well, I guess, you know, he knew what he was signing up for, but it still hurts. And I couldn't believe that he said that.
Now, there's no recording of what got said. The White House is saying that absolutely he wasn't insulting in any way. The widow is saying that she took offense to it. Well, I have got stories all over the place on this. I've got a Gold Star father who says, I think this whole thing is being misconstrued.
I believe that President Trump is doing a lot of good things as far as Gold Star families is concerned. And my perception of this story is that his words are basically being taken and misconstrued.
I have got a story, because one of the questions is, you know, Trump kind of brought this up, saying that Obama never called people. Obama never called anybody when a soldier was killed in the line of duty. And then people said, oh, that's a terrible thing to say. And then some people looked and said, well, we don't know if he made phone calls or not. I've got a story here from the Daily Caller, a woman by the name of Jenna Green, whose father was killed in the line of duty in Iraq when she was 10. And she says, we got a letter from President Bush and the First Lady. We never got a phone call from anybody. We got one letter from President Bush and the First Lady. Allow me to ask the question. Do I need to know whether someone got a phone call or didn't get a phone call, whether we think it was acceptable or not? If someone's offended by the call, they're offended by the call. I can't control what they're offended by. But if you tell me the line was from the president or from any president, he knew what he was getting into. And I know that hurts just the same. Or words to that effect. You don't think a man signs up for the military? A woman signs up for the military and doesn't know what they're getting into? They don't know they're putting their life on the line? I'm sorry, is this suddenly new to us? Is this suddenly something we don't realize? Well, I can't control it if a widow is insulted by what the president said. And certainly I'm sorry to hear that. And I don't know what it is the president said because I'm dealing with hearsay and I have absolutely, positively no proof of any of it. I could speculate till the cows come home. Here's the truth of what I know. North Korea is engaged in a nuclear war. They may not be dropping bombs yet, but this is what they're engaged in. Iran is engaged in supporting terrorism around the world and building a nuclear arsenal. This is what they're engaged in. Russia, as we've just learned regarding a scandal that goes back to 2004 and then again in 2009 that the Obama administration knew about regarding kickbacks and bribery schemes in order to capture 1/5 of the U.S. uranium reserves, where Hillary Clinton was keenly involved and did nothing, where the Obama administration knew what was happening and did nothing about this. They allowed the sale to go through to a Russian company of a Canadian company that dealt with U.S. uranium, which is, by the way, important. And nobody in Congress was notified. The American people were not notified. Were not notified. You want to tell me about a phone call? This is the story? I have said for forever, we are dealing with deeds versus words. That's what the election was about with Clinton and Trump. That's what America has become. What's worse, the words of President Trump or the deeds of these people who are trying to kill us or who purposefully lied to us and misled us about what was going on in the country? What's worse? A call from President Trump that somebody didn't like, or Harvey Weinstein possibly raping women and an entire Hollywood subculture that was quiet purposely so they can make a few bucks? You want to tell me about phone calls? They are crazed. We're not. They can't figure out what's right and what's important. We're not. This is the lead story with cable news outlets. If you don't mind, I'm going to stick with what's important. And this phone call is not. The life of this soldier who died and those who die in the line of battle, taking care of us, they're always important. Our thoughts are with the widow of this soldier. His name, Sergeant Johnson. Let's check traffic right now. Matt Bear. Traffic on the 5s. What's going on with you? Don't worry about a sounder. We're cool, my friend.
Yeah,
What's going on?
Hey, I'm taking a look here. We're on the interstates here.